Hello, my friends out on YouTube. This is Have a Knife Day coming at you with another knife review on one of these great, fantastic Rough Rider models. This is the Rough Rider model 1846, and this is the Bushcraft uh, Stockman. And before we get into the review, though, I have a few things that I really feel compelled to go over. I know I've got very few reviewers right now, but hopefully down the road somebody will pick this up and it'll find it to be useful information. And you might find that I'm being a little bit nitpicky, but I do watch a lot of videos of other knife reviewers, and there's a few terms that are being used incorrectly, and so I just kind of want to go into that. First of all, I hear a lot of guys say that these are their knives, and there is no such word in the English language. We do have a similar word that we like to use called knives, but there's no such thing as knives. Um, Another word that often gets misused, or words get used collectively as though they're the same word, is end cap and bolster. In the background, you'll notice my model 5254 case trapper. And if you look at this knife, on the right side of the knife where the blades would pivot, that is called the bolster. On the left side of the knife where there are no blades to pivot, that is called an end cap. The model right above that is the model 5247 Stag Whittler, and that model has knife blades that rotate on both ends of the knife. It therefore has no end cap, but has bolsters on both ends of the knife. Another word that gets used incorrectly is covers and scales. On a modern folder such as this Spyderco Tenacious, the sides of the knife are called scales. So these are that's the term that's used to describe the sides of the knife. On your traditional folders, they're called covers, not scales. So when we look at this particular knife, we would say that in regards to the covers on this knife, that they're beautifully colored and they seem to reach the bolsters on the end pretty well. There's a light gap right here on the mark side of the knife, and that's another term that people often get confused about. The side with the shield is called the mark side or presentation side, and the side without the shield is called the pile side, because when the knife is done, that's the side you lay it down on when it goes on the pile. Okay. But having gone over those terms, I do feel a little bit better, and hopefully it'll help to educate somebody out there. But let's talk about this knife. First of all, if you're familiar at all with the Rough Rider brand, you know how the price that you get or that you pay for these and the quality that you get is phenomenal. And as I've said on another video, I would call them the top of the leader of the pack in their price point. I don't think that you're going to be able to find quality that would match it for the amount of money that you're going to pay for something like this. But in regards to this particular model, the 1846 Bushcraft model, it does have copper bolsters and copper liners, and it also has copper pins, and the scale on it is copper. And prior to this video, I had to clean this knife up. It had already begun to patina, and it was changing colors. And I wanted it to look nice for the video, but after this video, I'll probably go ahead and just let it go and see what kind of what kind of nice patina the copper will pick up and how it'll look down the road. But it has these wonderfully black coated blades. And after a review that was done by Tobias on his channel, Knife Chats with Tobias, shout out to him. I was really impressed with this knife and had to pick one up for myself. This knife does ride really well in the pocket with the size at about, I believe it's around 3.5 inches. It's not too big to ride well in the pocket with the pinched bolsters and the roundness of the bolsters. It does ride really well. I was really impressed. I've never owned a knife that had saw cut bone covers, and almost said scales there, but I never had one with saw cut bone covers, and I really was impressed with it after I got it in my hand and was looking at it. It had a great feel to it. It was really good fit and finish. There is I know you won't be able to pick it up from this video, but there was a very slight gap between one of the springs and the liner. But other than that, it was in pretty good shape. None of the pins on the covers were particularly proud. The shield fit really well. There was some slight gapping, like I said earlier, near a couple of the bolsters, but not extremely noticeable. The only thing that I could pick up about this that I wasn't particularly excited about is in regards to the secondary blades. So a couple of things. Both secondary blades had the pulls on the pile side, which I felt that the sheepfoot blade should have actually pulled from the mark side. But because of the way that it nests in the knife, it would have been particularly difficult to reach in and grab it there. So I believe that's why they put the pull on the mark, or I'm sorry, on the pile side rather than the mark side. I do like the long pulls, the Match Strike long pulls. I prefer them over the nail nicks. So this had that. This had really the pulls on the blades was pretty decent. I would call it maybe about a 5 for the main California clip blade, and also for the spade blade, and about a 3 on the sheepfoot blade. And the other thing that I noticed about this knife is that the sheepfoot blade had quite a bit of bend in it, and I don't know, I think you can pick it, I think you can see from the video, you can see that it as you're looking at your screen there, from top to bottom, from the top it bends over to the left quite a bit. Now, it hasn't caused any kind of blade rub to this point, and I know that's something that a lot of guys do not particularly care for, is when they start getting blade rub and it leaves marks on the knives. But I will tell you that even with some of my more expensive traditional knives, that blade rub is a common, well, I wouldn't say common, but it is something that happens in knives of all price ranges. So, and if it's something that you don't care for, then I think it's something where you probably should hand pick your knives rather than buying them and having them shipped to you. You need to go somewhere where you can go through and see how they fit, because traditional knives are a lot of times many steps are still done. It's a still handmade process, and as a result, not every knife is going to come out the same. I feel like as I've mentioned before in the past, I feel like the quality that you get with these Rough Rider knives for the price that you pay is extremely acceptable, and it's I feel like they're a very good value for the money. Now, having said all that, I guess I would close by saying that if you were on the fence in regards to this particular pattern, or even anything to do with the bushcraft series, I would say you should probably try to get one or pick one up. Pick one up in your favorite pattern that's available. Now, the supply on these seems to be diminishing, so I don't know if that means that they're soon to go by the wayside. But and someone has brought up, I'm not really sure about the actual value and collectability in regards to these, but I think that you should collect what you like, what makes you happy, and not worry about whether or not it's going to gain in value. This is a hobby. This isn't the stock market. So if your hobby does become valuable, your collection becomes valuable, good for you. If it doesn't become valuable, but it makes you happy, then it was worth it. Should only spend your spare money on things that are going to make you happy. It shouldn't be something that's going to be work for you, or that you're going to be upset if it doesn't gain in value. But I hope you like this video. If you do, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching. And this has been Have a Nice Day, and I do hope that you do have a nice day.